Chi creation, the Middle Kingdom, part 2. So this is supposed to represent like a spirit's perspective. So like all the realms being close together, like the illusion of separation. Like in spirit, this is how spirit perceives it. And so they couldn't get any closer in a sense of like that. Like each bubble being a window into another world. So we mentioned emotions, and we can get carried away with those emotions. We can also daydream, and we can get completely lost in that dream. We can completely forget our surroundings and stuff. So in terms of like when we spoke about the energy ball, and it's like to go within, we need to be like that energy ball, but we need to do it as like an internal movement. So like going within, like daydreaming, you become unaware of the world around you in that kind of sense. And so it's in that the depths of your mind is the compression or contraction. So then that's where we find the light. And then we get to travel the astral planes and visit all the other bubbles of consciousness. So part of how to do it would be to be comfortable. So not to be in a position like this, because this is like contorting yourself, and it's kind of really difficult to get that position and feel comfortable. So if you look at that kind of position, you see how like when she falls asleep, her body would probably stay the same position. It's like, how everything's being held in that kind of sense. Even her head probably wouldn't move, So it's like finding yourself in that kind of position. Feel really comfortable, so you don't have to use your muscles at all. So even if you did fall asleep, once your muscles let go, then you'd see that movement. Then you know what I mean, the head would move or whichever and stuff. So being comfortable is really important. And so to become our own light in that kind of way, there's a big aspect of reminding ourselves of what his relationship with spirit is. And it's like with that illusion of separation, it can seem really distant. It can seem like it doesn't even exist sometimes. But in terms of like that realization of what it is, because it's always there. It's never not there. It's kind of like it just needs to be realized. Part of that realization is understanding that emotional aspect towards it. It's like when you're excited about seeing somebody, like your best friend or like they're coming over to your house and, or even they're there. You're surrounded by friends and family that, you value and such. And there's like, there's a vibrational frequency. And that with spirit is like greater than, it's kind of like it's a sensation of being content, but more than content. It's like bliss in its simplicity. And so to find that, you need to be at that vibration as well. And so look forward to meeting spirit in that kind of way. It's like it's an essential part of the exercise to do this. It's to enjoy what you're doing as we do it, So it's a focus exercise, but in that terms of like enjoying it, it's got to be like, I don't know, with that realization. But it's like, it's because meditation is sacred. So in terms of, you are meeting spirit when you meditate. So like to do it in this way, then it's to take that gratification with you. You know what I mean? It's to be really happy about that situation. I mean, you really won't be meditating otherwise. So in that kind of sense and stuff. So we've got the train meditation. I did an upload of this ages ago. One of my first uploads, like the third one. But in terms of like meeting spirit this way, I don't know. This is the way, a really good method for like, opening your third eye. It, it's like astral projection, but without leaving the body. So it's like you get to watch it like a movie in your mind. So it's kind of like daydreaming, but you're watching the movie rather than being completely immersed. But at the same time, it's giving you a good experience. It's showing you something which is kind of like, which has a lot to offer in terms of like what spirit is and such. So, so what we do, we get comfortable, we realize that we're meeting spirit, and then we follow this train. We create the visualizations in his mind, and we'll have to like visualize what the front of the train looks like, and then we need to create a peripheral vision, because it's supposed to be third eye exercise, and the intention was like to like literally just be an exercise like press ups. So you got your third eye, you got your imagination. You try to see with your imagination, but if you see a still image, it's too simple. It's not much of an exercise because your mind does that all the time anyway. I mean, your mind makes videos in a sense. So to exercise the eye would be to like you get the central image, which was a train, but then you need the peripheral. So we're like we need to exercise what that is. So here we've got some tracks. And so, and then all that's all stones and everything. All these kind of details and such. Generally, you get like a shimmer on the track. My next picture might be better. You can see it with colour there a bit. And on here as well. So like that bit there and stuff like, I don't know, it's how the light bounces and comes across the track. And it's kind of really easy to get that as a repetitive image in your own mind for it to do. The light's going to like the dance across it in a sense. As it moves any slight oddness to its shape, how it shifts and goes, and undulates and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a slight shift to it, so you can see how the light moves and all that kind of thing, or for when it turns or whatever. But also you got like the lats, and when they if it's going fast, then that can become a blur, and then that's kind of really easy to program your mind to see in a sense, because like when you're watching the train, you're not looking at that, so you need to get this kind of like programmed into your vision in a sense. So then you've got the walls, all that kind of thing. Also, it's underground as well, so there's less light, so it makes it easier. You see how the light cascades around the corner of it and stuff. So you can, like I said, that pattern can repeat. So same for walls. You got lights here, which is easy to kind of create in your mind and such, and the buttress or whatever it is. If you're moving as well, then there's a bit of a blurriness to it and stuff like that kind of thing. So again, it's easy to repeat in your mind. You can have it change. There's like lots of examples in that kind of way. You also got your ceiling, and it's not usually much on the ceiling, but you might have a light or something. And so you get different types of tunnels, and it's like one aspect is to keep it interesting, you know. As you're going through, you're allowed to change how it looks and stuff like that kind of thing, because we've got to keep that gratification to meet spirit. So in terms of keeping it interesting and such, changing the scenery, whether there's a platform there, or whether you're going through tunnels, or whether it's all dark, or you know, whether it's got light parts and stuff kind of thing. So more examples of that and stuff. So you can see out track and stuff like that. Shimmering light, different walls again. It's square this time and such. So yeah, more visualization. The more you get the peripheral sorted out, then you can ready for the motion of it in that kind of sense. It's like for following the train and such. That blurriness, all that kind of thing. And you got the platform as well. So when it's all lit up, and then you go back into the darkness and stuff. Not pitch black. That's up to you. However it looks and such. But you know, you keep changing it. You add colour and stuff like that kind of thing. And you see, like here, everything's streaky, so it's really easy for you to get your mind to create these kind of images. Like you can't see the mats anymore, the wooden bits. From this sight train. But yeah, you know, they look different. It's not got the wooden things there either. So you follow the train. Whether you're behind it or going down by its side of it, you don't have to worry about other trains because it's your own imagination. So, I mean, you could hover at that side, and you know, what I mean, or in between, or what, it doesn't matter. But it's up to you how you control it. You know, like I say about like keeping it interesting. So you got corners and all that kind of stuff. So like when the train turns, you can see what it looks like. And another example of what the train looks like as well, all the tracks and stuff. Yeah, another example. So that's what this video is filled with. Examples of this for you to practice, basically. And I generally tell people about 15 minutes once you've followed it for that long, whilst maintaining that happy frequency. Then that's it. That's it. It happens eventually. You get to, you know, your third eye opens. So another example of a train, and the roof, if you're gonna include bits like that. Like piping. It's easy when you're going fast and stuff. You can, you know, you just make those patterns quite easy. So light and there as well, and also light. I visualized like white lights. I don't like the red as much, so like that. That's not too bad. And again, like you can see down this way, so you can fly with the train. So it's like you're hovering in that kind of sense. And what you're doing, you're exciting all that part of your peripheral vision whilst you're doing it. And so it's like you're using all of that iris, or I think it's literally called an iris, isn't it, on the end of your third eye, on the tip of it. So again, like the windows, and you know, just for that, all that and everything. So when it's darker and it's just as simple as that, it's not difficult to create in your mind. It's quite good. It's quite, that realistic aspect to it or whatever. And so if you're like flying through, you've got all your visualizations going up and stuff with that gratification. So yeah, platforms and such. So sometimes you forget what you're doing, like your autopilot will come on, and you'll start thinking about other things, which means that you're not doing train meditation anymore. This is a natural function of a mind. So, as a focus exercise, we need to get back onto the train meditation. We need to keep moving with that to open the third eye. Otherwise, you've stopped doing the meditation. It's as simple as that. So, we acknowledge that the mind does this. It forgets, and we bring ourselves back into the meditation. You might have to do that a few times in the meditation. Like I say, if you're doing it for like 15 minutes, and you suddenly think about anything, food or whatever and stuff like, just bring yourself back in and forget it, and stuff like, and get back into the train meditation and keep going with it. So this is more to do with like adding color. So after we talk all like dark and such. So like the more I'm doing it, it might be dark to begin with and stuff like that. But as the more I do it, the more brighter the subways are and stuff like platforms. So that's quite bright. It's like a disco. So then you'll eventually forget again. But this time, because you've been doing it longer than 5 minutes or so, you've been doing it 10 or 15 minutes, then this time when you forget, it won't be because you're thinking of something else. It's because you're seeing something else. I think I had more pictures. We should be spirit. It'd be the light, all that kind of stuff. Like it'd be the entering of a middle kingdom. So with that darkness, that's where the light is. So then you'll see places like this. I've added I've chosen fog pictures because it adds that mystery, because I don't know what you're going to see for one thing, but for most aspects of things, it's like you might be flying across landscapes, and it'd be kind of pretty cool in that kind of sense and stuff. But also in terms of it might sound better to do like a train tunnel, a tree tunnel, and going through this in that kind of way. But sometimes when you're doing it, when you're doing the train meditation, you come out of it coming through tree tunnels. So if you did meditation through a tree tunnel to begin with, you wouldn't see that difference. You'd think that you programmed your mind to see it. So it'd be better if you don't do a tree tunnel example. It's best with a train meditation. So if you do that train, you just use them for darkness, and then if everything gets filled with nature suddenly, then it's not because you programmed your mind, it's because it's naturally happened. It's what you actually seeing. Which you also get to see a lot of things like this, giant trees and all these kind of things. I saw something similar to this, but it was a forest of them. So like there were loads of them, and the roots were like going really deep. It's like a way further down, so it looked like the water level must have been up to there at some point, but the roots and all that kind of stuff, and we're all exposed, so the water weren't there anymore, kind of thing, apart from maybe a little bit of the bottom. So it's like this picture, it's like it's missing. It's like that pit needs to be lifted up, and as big as the picture itself, to show how big the roots were and such. So, which it's really cool to see all that kind of stuff. Giant trees grow elsewhere in that kind of way. And this is one of the ways to do it, but ways to witness it in that kind of way. So, yeah, going within. The meditation works. It should do, because it's quite effective. You just got to keep going with it. Like I said, when you forget what you're doing, you like autopilot. That's meant to happen. And like I said, it's part of it in terms of like how you achieve the the opening of third eye in that kind of sense. Then you bring yourself back onto it. Like like I say, you forget what you're thinking about, and then you come back to train meditation, and then once again you forget what you're thinking about, but this time you get to see, what I mean, and you don't need to go back to train meditation then, until the day after or whenever you want to do it again. But but yeah, it should only take 15 minutes. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.